Good morning, everybody. This is Yin Yang with Morsels of a Thought, number 1151. It is Monday, the 26th of February, 2024. We're running through this year fast. So I wanted first to say good morning to my special viewer, John Clark. You're here from Marcus Aurelius today. This is a Stoic. This is a man with a way of thinking that began to change the world. Trying to get the. And also, good morning to Liz Rose Cantara. I'm sorry, I am trying to adjust my silly camera. Just wanted to be on time. And here, okay, I think this is better. Sorry. Excuse me. You should have seen how I was. Never mind. Oh boy. Anyway, here we go. Okay, in Marcus Aurelius Meditations, translation by Gregory Hayes, this man wrote this book 2,000 years ago. All right, he was an emperor. All I'll say is he was a Roman emperor, and he wrote it in Latin. There were occasional words borrowed from the Greek. So the word logos is the word for the universe, which is their version of God. And here we are, number 11 of the book, number 2, on the River Gran among the Quadi. All right. Number 11. He's got 17 of these, so we'll see if we get through all of the rest today. Number 11. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. If the gods exist, then to abandon human beings is not frightening. The gods would never subject you to harm. And if they don't exist or don't care what happens to us, what would be the point of living in a world without gods or providence with a capital P? But they do exist, the gods. They do care what happens to us. And everything a person needs to avoid real harm, they have placed within him. If there were anything harmful on the other side of death, they would have made sure that the ability to avoid it was within you. If it doesn't harm your character, how can it harm your life? Nature would not have overlooked such dangers through failing to recognize them, or because it saw them but was powerless to prevent or correct them, nor would it ever through inability or incompetence make such a mistake as to let good and bad things happen indiscriminately to good and bad alike. But death and life, success and failure, pain and pleasure, wealth and poverty, all these happen to good and bad alike, and they are neither noble nor shameful, and hence neither good nor bad. 12. The speed with which all of them vanish, the objects in the world and the memory of them in time, and the real nature of the thing our senses experience, especially those that entice us with pleasure or frighten us with pain or are loudly trumpeted by pride. To understand those things, how stupid, contemptible, grimy, decaying, and dead they are, that's what our intellectual powers are for. And to understand what those people really amount to, whose opinions and voices constitute fame, and what dying is, and that if you look at it in the abstract and break down your imaginary ideas of it by logical analysis, you realize that it's nothing but a process of nature which only children can be afraid of. And not only a process of nature, but a necessary one. And how man grasps God, with what part of himself he does so, and how that part is conditioned when he does. 13. Nothing is more pathetic than people who run around in circles, delving into the things that lie beneath, and conducting investigation. This means analyzing things, analysis. Okay. Nothing is more pathetic than people who run around in circles, delving into the things that lie beneath and conducting investigations into the souls of people around them, never realizing that all you have to do is be attentive to the power inside you and worship it sincerely. In other words, this is a real slam on psychotherapy. I think so. At least not psychotherapy, but psychoanalysis. Psychoanalysis, in other words, pointless analysis without resulting in some form of conclusion and result for a distinguishing method to get out of the situation. Psychoanalysis is what they're talking about, which is different from psychotherapy. To worship it is to keep it from being muddied with turmoil and becoming aimless and dissatisfied with nature, divine and human. What is divine deserves our respect because it is good. What is human deserves our affection because it is like us. And our pity, too, sometimes for its inability to tell good from bad, as terrible a blindness as the kind that can't tell white from black. 14. Even if you're going to live 3,000 more years or 10 times that, remember, you cannot lose another life than the one you're living now, or live another one than the one you're losing. The longest amounts to the same as the shortest. The present is the same for everyone. Its loss is the same for everyone, and it should be clear that a brief instant is all that is lost. For you can't lose either the past or the future. How could you lose what you don't have? Remember two things. One, that everything has always been the same and keeps recurring, and it makes no difference whether you see the same things recur in 100 years or 200 or in an infinite period. Two, that the longest lived and those who will die soonest lose the same thing. The present is all that they can give up, since that is all you have, and what you do not have, you cannot lose. 15. Everything is just an impression. Monimus the cynic. Monimus the cynic. And the response is obvious enough. But the point is a useful one, if you take it for what it's worth. I'll read that one again. No, I won't read that again. 16. The human soul degrades itself. Above all, when it does its best to become an abscess, a kind of detached growth on the world. To be disgruntled at anything that happens is a kind of secession from nature, which comprises the nature of all things. 2. When it turns its back on another person or sets out to do it harm, as the souls of the angry do. 3. When it is overpowered by pleasure or pain. 4. When it puts on a mask and does or says something artificial or false. 5. When it allows its action and impulse to be without a purpose, to be random and disconnected. Even the smallest things ought to be directed toward a goal. But the goal of rational beings is to follow the rule and law of the most ancient of communities and states. Human life. Duration. Momentary, italicized. Nature. Changeable, italicized. Perception. Dim, italicized. Condition of body. Decaying. Soul. Spinning around. Fortune. Unpredictable. Lasting fame. Uncertain. Sum up. The body and its parts are a river, the soul a dream and mist. Life is warfare and a journey far from home. Lasting reputation is oblivion. Then what can guide us? Only philosophy. Which means making sure that the power within stays safe and free from assault, superior to pleasure and pain, doing nothing randomly or dishonestly and with imposture, not dependent on anyone else's doing something or not doing it, and making sure that it accepts what happens and what it is dealt as coming from the same place it came from. And above all, that it accepts death in a cheerful spirit, as nothing but the dissolution of elements from which each living thing is composed. If it doesn't hurt the individual elements to change continually into one another, why are people afraid of them changing and separating? It's a natural thing, and nothing natural is evil. Okay? This was among the Quadi. He was on the river Gran, among the Quadi. So we got through book 2. That was book 2 of Meditations. I hope you could hear me. I turned away from the camera a little. Next week, we will begin book 3 of Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. And this book is called Incarnatium. Let me try that again. I'm going to open that page and try to find that word. Incarnuntum. Incarnuntum. I'm going to have to look up that word. I hate it when I don't know a word. Okay, so I hope you have a great Monday. And this wasn't a holiday like it was last week, so I feel a little like it's a little different. But anyway, I hope you've been inspired to do good things and to make it a good day and a good week. I'll talk to you later, okay? Old Kinderhook!